And we are live on YouTube. Now I'm going live here on Instagram or trying. Hmm. Go. And we are live. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can hear me. If you are here and you can say, okay, I can hear you, then I can keep going. So I'm going to just wait a few seconds in case you're joining in so you can be part of this beautiful little simple live class. I'm going to talk a little bit about how important it is to train your breath holds and how it works with your body, with your CO2, your oxygen, your heartbeats per minute, and how it affects when you're paddling, when you're surfing. It's super important because having that on mind is what helps you to remain calm when you're underwater, especially under stress. You can get the focus into what's happening just for a second and then stay calm again because this knowledge helps you to know what's going on. And eventually, when you feel this strong urge to breathe, you know that it's not low oxygen, but it's high CO2. And that's okay. So you can just keep holding and relaxing until you have to swim back to the surface again. So, last few seconds as you're joining. And this is what I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to talk here so the audio is better about this little PDF that I made super simple to make it bigger. Go. So what happens when you paddle and you surf away with your body, and how that affects your mind and your surfing, and how you can use this simple knowledge, very simple knowledge, into your favor when you're holding your breath. Basically, right now, when we are sitting, when we are chilling, looking at the phone, our heart is relaxed. We are full of oxygen. Our CO2 is normal. We're just breathing in oxygen, breathing out CO2 between the gases. But when you surf, it changes, right? Same as when you exercise. Your heartbeat goes a bit higher or a lot higher, depending how fast you paddle and how big is the wave. The oxygen remains the same. That's what I want everybody to remember. I'm going to go super more in detail on Sunday about this. I'm just want to keep it very simple today. So your heartbeat is a bit higher. Your oxygen stays the same. It doesn't go low. And your CO2 starts to build up. Now, because your heart is going faster and you're moving when you're paddling or surfing, you need more oxygen and you're also producing more CO2 because it helps to send the oxygen into your muscles, your tissues everywhere. So to keep it super simple, when you surf, again, your heartbeat is up, your O2 is also up, and your oxygen, I mean your CO2, your carbon dioxide is also going up. And then what happens? Then you wipe out, maybe you fall and you wipe out. And that's when things become a bit more tricky. Because if right now you hold your breath, you just take a big mass of air, like, and you start holding, it's going to be probably easy because you're relaxed, your heart is going slow, you're not producing lots of CO2, and your oxygen is full in blood. You're fully saturated. So you can just chill and hold maybe 30 seconds, 45, 1 minute, 1 minute and a half. Everybody holds different times, but something like that, maybe even 2 minutes. And even in that time, the oxygen will stay high, but it's not going to go any lower than 95, 99%. Now, when you're holding, and this is the important part that you can use for you on your surfing, when you're holding your breath, your CO2, okay, it's going higher because you're not exhaling it. When you are exhaling, you're taking it out. But if you hold your breath and you produce more CO2, that CO2 that starts to build up in your body starts to become uncomfortable. And you start to feel stressed, like really stressed. And if you hold your breath now, you can hold now for the next 40 seconds and feel this urge to breathe. You will see that the stress feels somewhere here, maybe in your mind, maybe you feel like you need to move. And you'll realize that the first thing that you will do after you hold your breath, yes, it's obvious, you will exhale, you will breathe out like, and that's going to automatically calm you down. The second you exhale, you feel better because you got that CO2 out of your body that is bothering you. It's like, I want to get out, I want to get out. So when you exhale, you feel more relaxed. Now, when it comes to surfing, you can train that little stress that you have from CO2 to become more tolerant to CO2. Okay, you cannot tolerate CO2 anymore, so you need to expulse all of it out. The problem is if you're surfing and your heart is going fast and you're building a lot of CO2 and you're holding your breath underwater, and underwater you're still moving a lot and you're full of CO2, and that CO2 starts to scream to you, breathe again, breathe, breathe, because that's the trick. It's telling you to breathe. You might think, if you don't know what's going on, that you're low on oxygen and you're going to move more. You will try to go up to the surface faster. So you will produce more CO2. And even, like, maybe even you do something terrible, that is exhale. While you're going out, you start to blow bubbles out. That's even worse because you're exhaling also oxygen. And you need that oxygen. You don't want to exhale that oxygen. But if you know that what's bothering you is the CO2, not the low oxygen, then you can tell yourself, it's okay. I still have oxygen. I'm full of oxygen in my body. This uncomfort, this urge to breathe, this air hunger is just CO2 stress in my body. I'm going to ignore it. I know it's easy to say now, and when you're underwater rolling, you're not talking to yourself like that. But that's the idea of the training. You can get to that moment knowing that this stress is only CO2 building up in your body. And you can tolerate that. You can tolerate every time a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And that doesn't happen from one day to the other. I mean, you can train really fast. Even right now, we're not going to do a practice today, but on Sunday we're going to do a little short practice where you can hold your breath, check when you feel the urge to breathe, the discomfort, and you start to breathe again. And then do a little super simple breathing exercise to lower your heart rate, make your heart beat slower, relax more, get empty of CO2, expulse all the CO2 from your body, like clean it as much as you can, and then hold your breath again. And you will see that you can hold your breath maybe double the time you hold before, if this is your first time playing with your breath like this. So it is easy, yes, but there's a little problem. When people start training breath holds, this happens a lot with freedivers or beginner freedivers. They start training on intermediate. They see results very fast. In a very short period of time, you have a very fast progression. You go from holding your breath 30 seconds to 1 minute in a few lessons, maybe in a day, or from 1 minute to 2 minutes, easy. And what happens is that many people think, okay, now I want to push my limits even further. So if I was able to hold up to, let's say, 1 minute and a half, and that's my maximum that I cannot hold anymore after, I'm going to practice again tomorrow, and tomorrow I'm going to hold 1 minute and 45 seconds. So when I start to feel this strong stress in my body after 1 minute and a half, the last 15 seconds, I'm going to fight that stress. I'm going to stay calm and and tell myself this is just CO2, and I'm going to tolerate the discomfort. And even if it's a horrible feeling, a horrible sensation, I'm still going to keep going until I can breathe again. So I can make 1 minute and 45 seconds. And that's terrible. That's the biggest mistake. Why? Because you won't enjoy doing that more than 2 or 3 days. After a week, you'll be like, oh, this is horrible. I don't want to go through this process of full discomfort in my body again. But if you do the opposite, if you train little by little, or even better, if you let's say that normally you can hold your breath right now after you do a little practice 1 minute and a half, and you could 1 minute and 35, 1 minute and 40 seconds. But at 1 minute and 30 seconds, you feel discomfort and feel like you need to breathe. You don't want to feel the stress. So you can simply practice for the next 10 days to hold your breath 1 minute and 10 seconds, or 1 minute and 15, maybe 1 minute 20 seconds. And make those 1 minute and 20 seconds very easy and enjoyable. Enjoy holding your breath for that time. And you will see how little by little every day, when you get closer to this 1 minute and 20 seconds that is below your maximum breath hold, it's going to become easy. You won't feel that stress because you will build that CO2 tolerance in your body. Your mind, your body will get used to holding that CO2, and it'll be easier to ignore it and to hold your breath longer. And after you practice like that for a few days, and you realize that 1 minute and 20 seconds became very, very, very easy. Then you go for a week or a few days again to 1 minute and 30 seconds, which was your previous discomfort. And probably most likely it's going to be easy. You're going to hold your breath 1 minute and 30 seconds. That was your previous maximum. Very, very easy, and you are going to enjoy those breaths. So then next week, you do a few seconds more. You do little steps, 1 minute and 35 seconds. Always trying to feel comfortable. The moment that this becomes really, really stressed, really hard, you need to go one step lower. If you keep building bigger steps, because you know you can do it, you can probably go 2 minutes by that time. But then again, it becomes uncomfortable. You give up. Everybody gives up, and then you don't get to practice. And if you don't practice for a few weeks, next time you go surfing, you lose all the progress. Practicing your breath holds, it's something that you have to do in a routine. At least before you go surfing for a couple of 3 or 4 weeks or even more, if you struggle with holding your breath or recovering your breath when you go surfing. So that's why this little knowledge is so important. First, because you know that what's bothering you is your CO2 and not your oxygen low. Then you know that when you practice, you need to practice on a way that you don't hit that discomfort. You practice with a little less time to make it easy. And then after a week or so, you keep adding a few seconds to the training or making your recovery times a bit lower. Okay, I don't want to go deeper into this. I said this was going to be a simple lesson and a simple class with a very simple subject to talk about. So I'm going to start to close it here. The idea is that, again, you know that your CO2 bothers, you can train that, and you want to train little by little. Never pushing your limits to the extreme, because you're not going to go anywhere if you just push like a madman or a madger. Although you can probably do it, but you will give up. And this is something you want to train every single day. Um, I don't know if anybody has any questions. If someone here wants to ask something, you can let me know, and I will try to answer to you. It was quite clear. It's hard for me because I don't see the PDF. Oh, here I can see it again. So let's go again. I'm going to go from the top of this little flyer that I have here. So when you paddle and you surf away, your heart rate is going to go to 110, probably more beats per minute. So you are burning O2 faster, and you increase your CO2 production. You need more oxygen, and you breathe faster. That makes you build more CO2. When you're surfing that wave, and when you're paddling, your O2 again it remains the same. I have here a little oximeter. I like to play with it always. I check myself when I'm holding my breath how low I can get my O2, and it doesn't go really low. After holding 2 minutes, it stays in 99, 98%, 95. Only if I hold longer or if I do breath holds with my empty lungs, I can bring it a lot lower to 80, 70, 50, and a little bit lower. Um, and then, yes, again, so your CO2 is like the main thing here that I wanted to remember. The CO2 is your friend. You need it. Your body needs it. But also, it's the trigger that makes you want to breathe. The feeling that you get when you're this uncomfortable. It's CO2 high in your body, not O2. The other day, I made a little poll with everyone, and mostly everyone answered that the urge to breathe was low O2. No, 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 no. You're okay with oxygen. It's higher CO2 that makes you want to breathe. And you can train that. You can build CO2 tolerance. How? Training little by little every day, enjoying the process of training. In my own training, for example, I like to practice with music. I put my headphones, the music that I like, and then I play with different breathing rhythms and different times of breath to make the practice dynamic and fun. And that way I want to practice again. And I never push my limits a lot because I train for surfing mainly. And when I'm surfing, I don't need to hold my breath for 2 minutes or be static. No, I need to be able to my heart at the same rhythm that it was after I wipe out or after I take a wave on the head without going higher. And I have to be in this exercise rhythm with my heart rate a bit, of course, higher than usual, tolerating the CO2 in my body. So For me, if I can hold my breath 20 seconds with empty lungs, to imagine like a worst case scenario in surfing, with empty lungs for like 20 seconds and still move at the same time, that's enough for surfing. You don't need more. It sounds easy, but it's not. If you do now a little exercise of moving your arms and then getting your heart rate up and then exhale out the air and hold, it's not going to be very easy to to stay calm unless you practice a little bit every single day. Let me check if there was any questions. I don't see any. So I guess this is super clear. You can always, of course, ask me your questions after and later. And cool, that was today's live. I promise it was going to be a very simple one, very short one and brief, and talk just about the importance of doing easy, simple trainings and practices every day or every other day or once per week without burning out, because then people give up. And I wanted you to have this simple knowledge that when you're holding your breath, it's not your oxygen going low that makes you want to breathe, but it's your CO2 going up. And you can practice that to fight against it or make that discomfort something that is not discomfortable anymore. You simply build up your CO2 tolerance. And that happens with practice. Um, so thank you for being here today. Remember that you can join me on Sunday for Breathwork for Surfers Masterclass, where I'm going to go a lot deeper into everything and also we're going to do a practice, not just theory. I wanted to have some of these feelings of how it is when you wake up surfing and how you can train with it on land. Also, check the WhatsApp group if you want to join on the WhatsApp group. I'm sharing news there and opening slots for the course on the week. Um, and that's it for today. Thank you for being here. And see you next time. Ciao, ciao.